Larkin.
Wild nights, wild, 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 wild nights, wild, wild, wild. Damn, baby, you're so fine. Damn, baby, you're all mine. Kick back all the time in this party with my slimes. Girl, that you know I'm real, too real to be for real. Man, this life's so unreal. I might just blow a mill. Wild nights, wild, 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 wild nights, wild, 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 wild nights, wild, wild, wild. Wild nights, wild, 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 wild nights, wild, 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 wild nights, wild, wild, wild. Girl, just be for real. You know just how you feel. I know how you be sometimes. Go together like a rhyme. Girl, you know we in our prime. Shake that ass just one more time. Light it up, that blunt sublime. Facing it is about that time. Wild, 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 wild.